Felicia Gross dug a shallow grave just behind her house and buried her 10-year-old son, Jayden Spicer. While Jayden was missing, Felicia went around crying and begging people to come forward to more information on the whereabouts of her son. She even wrote an emotional letter and put out in public begging for son's release. The letter reads, "We love you, Jayden, and we want him safe at home. Please, if anybody see my son, Jayden Spicer, please report it to the Jackson Police Department. Thank you. We love him and very much. Please do the right thing. Call the police. Please pray for use. My son, Jayden, thank you." She coached her other children and coerced them to lie to the police, telling them exactly what to say and how to lie. Why would a mother kill her own son, bury him in a shallow grave, and start off a search while hiding the truth? A YouTube channel named Hatfield McCoy Museum Adventures, ran by a couple based in Kentucky, searched for Jayden and even interviewed the couple and had this to say.
Are they okay? There she is. That is her. Watch her. She's peeking around looking. She's peeking to see where we're at.
Did Jayden stand a chance at survival? His stepfather also has a history of child abuse. Jayden has been living with his grandmother and just moved in with his mother and stepfather months ago. Now he is dead. Will justice be served? Join us at Time and Tide as we bring you the heartbreaking story of the murder of Jayden Spicer, a 10-year-old killed by his own mother. August 5th, 2025, Jackson, Kentucky. A 10-year-old boy, Jayden Spicer, suddenly disappears from his own home on Pamble Branch Road. Just think about that for a second. How does a child vanish under his mother's roof? Where could he have gone? Who was watching him? Or worse, who wasn't? By the next morning, 9:23 a.m., August 6th, the panic explodes into action. A 911 call is made. Jayden is reported missing. And in a matter of hours, this quiet little town is turned upside down. Police storm in with everything they've got. Helicopters slicing through the air, drones buzzing overhead, K9 dogs dragging handlers through the brush, sonar combing the creeks, neighbors shouting Jayden's name until their voices crack. It was a search fit for a fugitive, but they were looking for a 10-year-old boy. Yet nothing. Not a single shoe, not a backpack, not even a scrap of clothing. How is that even possible? Did Jayden just walk off into the woods and disappear? Or was someone already hiding the truth? By August 8th, the silence was deafening, and the police had to admit what everyone already feared. This wasn't just a search anymore. It was an investigation. But into what exactly? Was Jayden lost? Was he kidnapped? Or had something much closer to home already happened? And then came August 12th. A full week of questions, rumors, and fear, acting on new information. Police head into the woods off Canoe Road. Why? There. Who pointed them in that direction? And what were they really expecting to find? At around 3 p.m., the horror comes crashing down, buried in a shallow grave, stuffed inside a plastic tote. The lifeless body of Jayden Spicer. The coroner is called. Jayden is officially pronounced dead. His remains are rushed to the medical examiner in Frankfurt. And just like that, every prayer, every hope, every flyer taped to a light pole turns into grief, rage, and suspicion. The community that begged for answers now has more questions than ever. Who buried Jayden? Who knew where he was? Who had the nerve to bury a 10-year-old like trash in the woods? And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. If Jayden vanished from his own house, shouldn't someone inside that house know exactly what happened? So we're left with the most disturbing questions of all. Was this a random tragedy or the darkest kind of betrayal? Was Jayden failed by strangers or by the very people who were supposed to protect him? Because one thing is clear, this wasn't just a vanishing. This was the beginning of a nightmare. The woods gave up their secret on August 12th, but no one was ready for what came next. Jayden's body wasn't just found, it was buried, hidden in a shallow grave, stuffed inside a plastic tote like he was garbage. And the question everyone whispered was immediate. Who could do this to a child? By that same evening, the whispers turned into gasps. Police revealed the unimaginable. The suspect wasn't a stranger, wasn't a kidnapper, wasn't some nameless monster hiding in the shadows. No, it was his own mother, 33-year-old Felicia Gross. Can you picture the gossip storm? A mother, accused of killing the very child she brought into the world. How do you even wrap your head around that? How do you call yourself a mother while the police accuse you of burying your son in the dirt? And the charges, oh, they were damning. Second-degree manslaughter, abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, filing a false report, every word heavier than the last. It sounded like a checklist of betrayal. But then came the confession that froze people in their tracks. Investigators say Felicia admitted to giving Jayden a sleeping aid. He suffered a medical emergency. And what did she do? Did she grab the phone? Call for an ambulance? No. According to police, she chose to hide his body. She carried her son into the woods, slid him into a tote, and buried him like a secret she thought she could erase. And here's the chilling twist. She allegedly coached Jayden's siblings on what to tell investigators. Think about that. A grieving mother or a woman orchestrating a cover-up? Forcing her children to lie about their own brother's death? So now everyone is asking, was this just a terrible accident? Or was there something far more sinister at play? Was Felicia overwhelmed, desperate or cold, calculating and cruel? Because one truth is inescapable. When the grave was uncovered, so was the betrayal. What kind of mother buries her own child in a plastic tote and then walks into court to say not guilty? Seriously, how does that even make sense? A boy's dead. A grave has been dug. Siblings were allegedly told to lie. And yet, Felicia Gross stood in front of a judge and claimed innocence. Innocence? Tell me, how do you call yourself innocent when your child is pulled from the dirt? This is the part of the story that forces everyone to look at themselves and ask, what does mother even mean? Is it just biology? Or is it love, sacrifice, protection? Because when Jayden's body was lowered into the ground by strangers, the only person accused of putting him there was the very woman who should have been protecting him. Let's not sugarcoat it. Betrayal drips from every detail of this case. Think about it. Jayden's final moments. A 10-year-old vulnerable, trusting his mom to keep him safe. Instead, he's allegedly given a sleeping aid. He suffers a medical emergency. And what happens next? Not a call to 911, not a scream for help, not even an attempt to save him. Instead, if police are right, his body is hidden, stuffed inside a container, and buried in the woods like trash. And it doesn't stop there. Because what does Felicia do after? Does she break down in grief? No. According to investigators, she looks at Jayden's siblings, children themselves, and tells them what to say to police. Imagine that. Forcing kids to lie about their own brother's death. What kind of heartless calculation is that? What kind of cold, manipulative mind can even think that way?
After approximately 3 p.m., the remains of Jayden Spicer were discovered buried at the scene.
So let's ask the uncomfortable questions nobody wants to touch. Was this really just a panic mistake? Or was it a mother protecting herself at all costs? If Felicia could bury her son and silence her children, what else was she capable of? And here's the ugliest thought of all. If she could do this once, had there been other moments of cruelty nobody saw? Was this one night of horror or the tip of a darker pattern? And then there's the plea, not guilty. Not guilty to manslaughter. Not guilty to abuse of a corpse. Not guilty to tampering with evidence. Not guilty to filing a false report. Tell me, how does a mother plead not guilty when her son has been buried in the woods for a week? If she didn't do it, then who did? Who dug the grave? Who hid the body? Who told the siblings to lie? Are we supposed to believe this was all just some giant misunderstanding? But maybe that's the most disturbing part. Maybe Felicia really believes she's not guilty. Maybe in her mind she didn't kill Jayden. The sleeping aid did. Maybe she thinks burying him was handling it. Maybe coaching the kids was protecting the family. And if that's true, what does that say about her? A mother so twisted by her own logic that she can't even see the horror of what's happened? Now let's talk about betrayal. Because betrayal isn't just about Jayden. It's about the siblings too. Imagine being a child, losing your brother, and then being told by your mother to lie, to carry her secret, to protect her at the expense of truth. That's not just betrayal, that's a lifetime of scars. How do you grow up from that? How do you ever trust again? And what about the community watching this unfold? They see the mugshot. They hear the charges. They read the arrest citation. And they wonder, what kind of mother hides behind her children? What kind of mother digs her son's grave instead of digging for help? So let's put it plain. Is Felicia Gross a desperate woman who made a terrible mistake? Or is she the coldest kind of mother? The kind who puts herself above her own child's life? Because if this was desperation, why the lies? Why the tote? Why the coaching? Why bury him like garbage in the woods? And here's the question that should burn in everyone's mind. If Jayden had survived that night, what kind of life would he have had under mother like this? Was he ever truly safe? Were his siblings ever truly safe? The court will decide. The autopsy will reveal more. But no matter what verdict comes, no matter how many pleas are entered, the betrayal has already been written in the dirt of that shallow grave. So now I'll ask you, yes, you watching this, can you ever call a mother innocent after this? Can you ever excuse a plea of not guilty when the evidence screams otherwise? Do you believe this was a tragic accident or the darkest form of heartless betrayal? Because one boy is gone forever, and the only person accused of burying him is the woman who once promised to love him most.